And welcome to the TMT podcast. My name's Zach Lukie, a customer service rep here for right around 5 years. I'm joined here by my partner.
My name is Luke Wagner. I'm also a CSR here at 2 Minute a Truck, and this is the podcast.
Yeah, so Luke, what's something you enjoy about doing here?
Working at 2 Minute a Truck, it's definitely like one of the better, best jobs I would say that I've had. The people here are great. I come into work every day knowing that what we do here is really helping people out, and we offer a really great service for the city of Columbus.
Yeah, see, I was definitely going to say the same on that one. I think helping people out here is kind of like the best part of the job, especially when people have those last minute moves. They're stressed, they're concerned about things, they're worried that, friends or family that maybe was lined up kind of fell through, that sort of thing. It happens all the time when you're trying to move yourself. And we can get out there, that same day, next day, anything they need and kind of get that job done. Feels like rewarding work.
Yeah. And everybody that I work with here is super great. Our movers are phenomenal. And the sales floor up here, we're all pretty sweet too, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would definitely say the movers are the absolute best guys in the building. Like, I've never met one that was anything less than top tier friendly.
Put the team on their back, as,
yeah.
People would like to say.
That's definitely the case. Our frontline workers, day in, day out, go through so much to make sure that everybody's move is completed on time, ahead of schedule most of the time, and flawless without any sort of stress or worry on the customer's end.
Yeah.
But I think we're talking a lot about the movers here. I think we should spend some time talking about what we do. So can you walk me through a typical day?
Yeah, so typical day. I'm one of the first people to come in here in the mornings. Get my cup of coffee ready to go, and then go straight into taking calls. Take about, I don't know, what'd you say, probably 20 to 30 calls a day.
Yeah, right
at
around.
least per person. Yep, take calls all day long. We're a pretty tight knit team up here. Obviously we're working individually with the customer, but we are a very tight knit group up here on the sales floor as well. We do help each other out.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you do all day long?
So a lot of my day kind of starts when you first get in the morning. Obviously you're checking your emails, that sort of thing. You're making sure you're addressing any customer concerns. Like, we have a lot of customers who, are booking 30 days in advance, 60 days in advance, 90 days in advance, and they want to know things like, hey, what's the best packing tip? How would you pack this item? That sort of thing. So you're making sure you're staying on top of the customers that, are currently already working with you. They have a move plan for the future. You're making sure you're helping them out, setting them up for success, making sure move day goes flawlessly there. And then, we kind of transition, like you said. We're taking a lot of incoming calls there, especially through the afternoon. A lot of people like to call in their lunch break, that sort of thing. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
We can kind of go through those, make sure we can help out as many people as possible there in our community.
I think that's one of my favorite things is like giving people recommendations, because a lot of people haven't ever moved before. So it's like, it's their first time doing this thing, and it's our job up here to help, try to ease that stress. So I love giving some recommendations. Obviously, we, have a lot of services that we can provide. We can do as much as, move you all the way across the country, pack everything up, remove that junk from your house. Or we can do as little as move some items around inside your home. And then whatever I can do to help, I'm sure you're the same way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I think that's that kind of transitioned nicely into one of the other things I want to talk about with our flexibility as a company is so large here. We have people who just need help moving, the couch and the love seat out of their living room down to their basement. We help them out. We have people who need help moving a 5,000 square foot home to Tennessee. We help them out all the same. We make sure we have everything front end to back end covered. So regardless of the size of the job, we have a plan to get you helped out there. So I know, when you first started here, you spent a day out on the trucks with the movers. How did it go? How to help you do your job? What did you experience that day?
I think that's one of the great, processes of how we train, our sales representatives up here. It really gets, it brings in the both worlds together. So, we're up here behind a, computer screen, behind four walls all day long. And then if we weren't able to go out there on the trucks, we wouldn't be able to kind of understand what the guys go through. Went out there on my truck day, helped out the guys a little bit. I'll let them do their own job, but definitely got to see. It is a very, very tough job sometimes. People have some pretty heavy furniture, and they're coming from parts of houses that are narrow, and there's some things that we just don't anticipate too, and we don't really see that from the computer side, but going out there on the trucks, it really helps kind of bring that home.
So let me ask you this: on your truck day, what was the most eye-opening experience for you?
Probably the most eye-opening experience is how many boxes some people can have in their home, and they didn't realize it. I think the guys, prior to, we were looking at the estimate, and it looked like there's only going to be like 40 or 50 boxes, and obviously we try to get as much as we can during the estimate to try to make it as accurate as we can. But simply with boxes, you just don't know sometimes how many you have, and this place was a 2-bedroom apartment with probably close to 100 boxes in there. So
yeah, I had a very similar experience on my truck day a few years back as well, where with the boxes, it's so hard, especially as a customer, to determine how many boxes you're going to need and that sort of thing. We were set up for a packing service with her. Obviously, it's a little bit more boxes than what we initially anticipated, but we were able to work with her, make sure we got it all done in the time frame we agreed upon, and we're going to stay on track there. A little bit of extra manpower. I was able to help out a little bit on that one. Good. I spent a few years as a mover prior to this, so worked out fine on that end.
Yes, exactly. I know we were talking about memorable spots of when we were on the trucks going out with the guys, but up here on the sales floor, has there been any memorable moments for you?
Yeah, I'm not sure I can say his name or anything on the podcast, but there was a certain hockey player who played for a team here locally in Columbus. I'll let you guess which team. But I went out to his home. I gave him an estimate. He's a really great guy. He even signed one of my hockey sticks. So I'm a big hockey guy. So that was a very memorable experience. Besides that, what do you do? Like, maybe we could break it down a little bit, because I know we were talking a little bit about the boxes, that sort of thing, and how it's so hard to tell. What do you do as a customer service rep up here that just like helps people understand and ensure success goes through on move day when it comes to some of those unsure questions that they have?
It's always about just kind of digging a little bit deeper. We like to try to be super accurate and thorough with how we do our estimating process. So, if there's ever any type of question and the voice of the person I'm speaking to, we'll take a moment, stop, and kind of dive in a little bit deeper. Because we're going through the house, they're probably, a lot going through their mind because they have a big move coming up, but just taking that extra second to kind of go through and break down some things a little bit more, and try to dig a little bit deeper about the information and what we're going to be moving for them.
I mean, yeah, that's got to be the best way I can describe it too. Like, the amount of work we put towards ensuring every step of the way we're asking as many questions as we can about, type of staircases we're working with, what type of bed are we working with, especially when it comes to like things like purple mattresses and sleep numbers. There's a lot of different complexity in furniture that we want to make sure we're getting as much detail as possible on that end.
I was actually just talking to somebody today, and they had gone through another estimate with a different moving company, and that's perfectly fine. But they were just asking me some questions about why our process is different than other processes they've gone through, and and I say like, we like to be thorough, because you could have the same size square footage house on paper, and some other moving companies it's more cookie cutter, but people live differently. They have some people have a lot of things, and they could be in a 2-bedroom apartment on a flat, and then the same on a 2-story house that's 2,100 square feet, they might have the same exact amount of stuff. So it's different for every situation. So
I've definitely had homes that I've moved that 2,500, 3,000 square feet, and they barely have a truck's worth of stuff. And I mean, just a few months back, we had that 900 square foot home that we had 3 trucks out at. And people definitely vary, and just going by the size of the home can lead to some disasters on move day, which is why we ask all those questions, make sure everyone's set airtight on that one. Kind of leading into here to the next topic of discussion, but what ways do you personalize the customer experience to make sure each interaction feels tailored to the individual needs?
So I just listen to the customer, because some people just want to get scheduled. Some people really want to feel like we care, which we actually, we do care. I go through, some of my calls are about 5 minutes long. Some of my calls can last up to 30, 35 minutes. Some people just need that reassurance that we're going to do a good job, and I want to reassure them that we are going to do a good job for them.
What's the longest call you've ever taken here?
I would probably say the longest call I've taken is definitely over an hour, probably closer to an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think mine's right around there. I think it was like an hour 30 or so. There's definitely some longer calls where customers need a lot more information than others. I think that goes back into everyone kind of lives a very different lifestyle. Um, there, like you mentioned, calls sometimes take 5 minutes. Pretty simple job there. Couch, love seat, moving down to the basement.
Yeah.
Versus, full home move with a lot of different specialty items, and we want to make sure we have the care and attentiveness we need to make sure that move goes a success.
So, yeah. So what measures, it's like safety measures and security of customers, like how do we provide that for them?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things I think Two Minute Truck does different here. So we do full replacement coverage on all of our moves. You know that. So not a lot of companies do this. I think we're currently the only one in Central Ohio that provides it on all of our moves. So basically, kind of the most peace of mind thing I can think of is what's a stereotype with movers, right? They break everything.
Break
Yeah,
everything, throw it into
exactly.
the truck.
Yeah, exactly. So we put a lot of tender care into every item we move. And we'll back up that promise by saying if we damage it, whether it's a tiny scratch or we put a hole in the wall or some sort of fridge gets water line gets messed up, anything like that, we'll pay to professionally repair or replace it as full value. We have tons of different people we work with for things like woodworking, that sort of thing, to make sure we can keep it up to date and make sure it's brand new on that end.
You know what I really like about how we like take care of safety? Our training process for our movers, like they are trained for multiple weeks before they hit a truck. And then we have a mock, how did they
Yeah,
say it?
the training house. Oh man, the training house is a fantastic resource. I'll let you explain it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we in our facility here we have a training house is what they call it, and it's basically a house that is has framework, has everything just so that the guys can practice using safe lifting techniques. It also gets them into that situation of going around corners, and our guys are trained to be extremely safe for themselves for one, and then for two for the customers' items that they're moving. So not only are they taking care of themselves, but they're going to take care of everything that they're moving as well.
Exactly. Yeah, that training house is a beast. I mean, a lot of the dimensions are really tight in there,
Mm-hmm.
and we make sure the guys can run things in and out of there in a timely estimate, without any damages whatsoever before they could ever go out onto a job.
I'm amazed
Um,
how they do that, honestly.
yeah, I couldn't even dream of that. But
Uh,
so yeah, I was wondering, kind of what the most unusual item you've been asked to move before is.
I've been asked a bunch of very unusual items, and the cool thing with us is we're usually pretty flexible on things that we can move. Actually, today I had just got put together a move for it's a hearing center, and they have what's called a hearing room or a sound room or a hearing box. Anyways, it's basically a box inside of a hearing center and inside a doctor's office. Not something that we would typically move, but we do have a third party that we use for disassembly and reassembly of some things that we us ourselves can't handle, or at least isn't a part of our scope of work. So yeah, I got about a 8x8 whole hearing room that's
Yeah.
moving about 3 hours away from Columbus. So
Yeah, that thing
very awesome.
is bulky, solid steel. I mean, it's meant to be soundproof when you're inside of it, so I mean, you're basically moving a very delicate room, and I'm impressed our guys can do that again completely safely and securely there.
Yeah.
I think one time, I think the strangest item I've ever had to move was one time we were moving some items for a museum, which obviously a lot of paperwork on that one. One of the they needed us to move 3 of vintage phone booths from like early 1900s England area,
Oh
where
wow.
it was there was some unique pieces, and they were freshly restored from a shop of some kind that had refurbished them and made them look a little bit nicer, so they looked more like at the time.
Huh.
It was a very, very, very cool exhibit to.
Oh, this other one that I
kind of
remember actually just went out on an in-home consultation, and they had a life-size ceramic bowl piece of art that they had in their front yard, which was
Yeah.
interesting to say the least. They said it was anatomically painted correctly originally, but they just painted it blue.
I think the largest statue I've had or lawn decoration was like a 12-foot dragon in length. And it was like one of those Chinese dragons where it's a little bit wavier. It doesn't have the wings or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it was one heck of a beast to get on the truck. Again, the two movers that were out there that day, I won't say their name or anything for security purposes, but those guys are absolute behemoths. So I guess the last question we have here today, folks, if you had to describe me as a TV character, Luke, who would it be?
TV character.
Yeah. You work with
I think you're kind of like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
All right. Yeah, no, I do like digging into mysteries, and I do enjoy maybe just a little bit of snacking throughout the day.
I would say both of those are true.
Yeah. Honestly, that's funny because I was going to call you Scooby, so that just makes sense.
Well, I guess that's why we're a good team up here.
Yeah, we keep it very tight up here. We make sure that we're all supportive of each other every day, and everything stays out of the customer's hands as far as the move goes.
For sure. Thank you guys so much for joining us.